Hey lovelies, I'm Queen Lovely. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, welcome. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. I definitely want you all to hop in the comments and give your opinions about this. There is no right or wrong answer. Let's just have a healthy discussion. And if you are new here and you like what you hear and see, please be sure to subscribe and hit and enable that notification bell so you can know when I post more videos such as this. Thank you so much for spending a portion of your Tuesday with me, and let's get into the topic. So as you can see, we have a tweet that is posing like a rhetorical question. It's actually a statement, but I'm turning it into a question. Should we bring shame back? So here are my sentiments on this very briefly. When I think about shame, in regards to should we bring it back, I think back to this one particular incident that I experienced secondhand when I was in high school. It was like 2012, and my homegirl was pregnant, and she had the baby or whatever the case may be. And I remember like she would leave school, she would cut class because, you know, the father of the child would call her and say, the baby won't stop crying, the baby needs this, I can't do this, can you come home? And unfortunately at the time, I don't remember her finishing high school with me. It's very possible that she could have transferred to another school, because I know they have alternative schools where, like, you know, if you are a single mom, the way that classes go and the way that schedules go, they will make that, you know, flexible for you and feasible for you so that you can get your diploma while still, you know, doing your outside whatever. Her mom came up to the school one day, and I remember her mom said, oh, did so-and-so tell you that she had a baby? And I didn't think nothing of the question. I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, congratulations to you. You're a grandma. And she didn't like that. But whatever the case may be, when my friend came back, she was like, yeah, my mom doesn't want people to know I had a baby. You know, she's kind of ashamed that I did this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. And I seen in her face how that really bothered her. Like she said, there would be times like she'll be pushing the baby in the stroller. She would be walking, whatever the case may be. She would run into her cousins because like all of them lived in the Brooklyn area. And people would be like, whose baby is that? And like she would have to lie about it. And then when she would say something, like her mom would feel away. And it was just a very messy and confusing situation for her. Here's my thing, right? That kind of reminds me of like back in the day, like before I was born. I'm 26, where, you know, the girl would get pregnant down south, or her mom would send her 2 towns over, or hell, she'd get pregnant in the city and then her mom sends her down south to raise the baby and whatnot. And we've always heard the psychological effects that goes into that, even if it's a situation where, you know, you do get pregnant and your parents force you to abort or terminate the child, or they force you to have the child to teach you a lesson. But then we wonder why we see these stories of people committing suicide. We wonder why we see these stories of people leaving their babies in incinerators or whatever the case may be. And oh, how can they do that? People fucking snap. Like, if you've ever been through anything really traumatic, think about going through that by yourself and being a teenager or being a young adult where your prefrontal cortex has yet to fully form, so you don't really have a good grasp on how to emotionally process things. Trauma can drive the best of us crazy and really push us to do some fucked up shit. And I personally feel like shaming people creates trauma, okay? Think about it. What made them behave that way to begin with? Usually when we see people behaving in ways that lack tact, that are uncouth, that I guess you could say are not conservative or frowned upon. Hell, these days everything is a go, so I don't even know if I'm saying that right. When you really sit down and talk to them, a lot of how they're behaving, a lot of how they're living is based from a place of survival. And then when you peel those layers back and you say, well, why do you feel like you have to be in survival mode? That's when you start to get to the meat and potatoes, which is the trauma that triggered this survival mode of an attitude to begin with. Okay? Cardi B is a perfect example of this. She said that she was working in the grocery store and going to community college. I think she said she was going to BMCC. But because she would constantly show up to the grocery store late because she was trying to juggle school, the dude fired her. The dude fired her and suggested that she go work at the strip club across the street. And when Cardi B seen how much money she was able to make over time, she started to plan her exit plan from being in an abusive relationship. She was living with her boyfriend and her boyfriend and his mom, and he was beating on her. Cardi B didn't want to strip. She didn't want to strip. And she said when her mother found out, I think she said her mom threw her down the steps or shit. That's how I grew up. There was no running down to the strip club straight out of high school and hopping on OnlyFans and starting an Instagram and getting your body done and posting risque and revealing photos. There was none of that at all, okay? That was frowned upon. And it's very interesting to see somebody like Cardi B, and I'm just using her as the catalyst to the point that I'm making, who didn't want to strip, who only stripped and got into that lifestyle because it was a means to an end. But then it's like you build your whole career off of being like this nasty, hypersexual, like, bitch. And I don't mean it in a derogatory way, because Lil' Kim built her career off of being that. There's nothing wrong with being sexually fluid. There's nothing wrong with being sexually positive and being comfortable in that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I think where the tweet is derived from is that it has set off this dangerous domino effect where it's like, well, it worked for her, it worked for him. I don't have anything to lose, so let me go down that path. And it's like, you do. We are taking exceptions to the rule and we are flipping it and now making it the rule. We are making it law. I was watching Basketball Wives and I'm looking at Brooke Bailey. Brooke Bailey has always been a gorgeous woman. And I'm like, what the fuck did she do to her face? I'm looking at all of these women with these lace fronts and pound of makeup looking like drag queens. Everyone has a flat stomach, but you could tell none of them don't be in the gym. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Why is everyone looking the same? Why is everyone aspiring to be the Amber Rose and the Black China? I don't get it, because they're the ones who really started that. When it comes to, being the girls with the body, stripping, being on Instagram. And then I look back and I look at somebody like Eve, who was a stripper. Once again, she admitted that her dad kind of walked out on her and her mom. And that's where a lot of her anger and trauma came from. And she was stripping. And at that time, she was with Stevie J. They did the sex tape that got leaked on her. People don't even talk about that version of Eve anymore, because she, like a true Scorpio, baby. And that's one thing I will give Scorpios that really evolve themselves and dwell in the higher vibrations of that Scorpio and that Pluto energy. She is like a phoenix who rises from the ashes. I have never seen a level up, glow up, rebrand the way that I have seen Eve. She is doing it. We like to talk about Nicki Minaj, and Nicki Minaj, like, these are individuals, but she is, in my opinion, a true rap queen, because she has Grammys. She had crossover hits. Okay, she is a female hip hop icon. And, mama done went and left the country, had a baby, she married, and she is chilling. She was a talk show host. She had her own sitcom. Eve was doing the damn thing. Actress, all of that. She's kind of up there like with that Queen Latifah. So it's very interesting to see how when she was going through her stages of womanhood, she seen the importance in evolving and ascending and moving past that. But then you look at somebody like a Nicki Minaj, and granted, everybody has, the right to live how they want to live, but let's just call a thing. And I don't care if people drag me in the comments. I have to just speak it how I see it. part of, you know, when you see Nicki Minaj pop up on Instagram and she's taking pictures like this where she's squatting down and she got her bare ass out, you're a wife and a mom now. Again, coming back to that freak in the sheets and lady in the streets. You're a wife and a mom now. It's one thing if you're entertaining. If you're an entertainer and you're on stage and you want to dress that way or whatever the case may be. But I think that's where, for a lot of people, Beyonce, and I get it, everybody's entitled to be themselves, but I think that's where, for a lot of people, Beyonce checks all the boxes. Because it's like, Beyonce can look sexy and can really step out, but she came from a similar background, you know, growing up in the South. Her mom ain't play that shit. Her dad ain't play that shit. So where it's like there's a time and a place for everything. And I just feel like for someone like Nicki to be, what is she, like 38, 39, and still feel the need to do that in efforts to garner attention, once again, there's trauma there. There's a sense of I need to survive there. Not monetary, like she doesn't want or need for anything when it comes to her basic needs, but just that social high of wanting to remain the rap queen and whatnot. So I feel like if we were living in a time where it wasn't the norm to have your ass and your titties just hanging out all over the internet, that would force Nicki Minaj to be more creative and a more age-appropriate way of how she's going to go viral. You understand? And I attribute that a lot to Kim Kardashian. That's like when she took that picture in the fur coat and posted it during the playoffs a few years ago and she was naked, or when Amber Rose posted herself naked. And again, people love to hide behind the sexual positivity and body positivity. And I do believe that you can't blame or hold these women accountable for how impressionable minds receive their gestures of body positivity and sexual positivity. In addition to that, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And those three people I named, Nicki, Amber, Kim, they're pretty much like the founding fathers of this movement we see today, which brings about, y'all just be out here doing anything. We need to bring shame back. And on the flip side with the men, and the only reason why I focused on women is because I'm a black woman, but on the flip side with the men, it's the same thing. These boys, these young impressionable boys growing up in low income and poverty stricken environments are listening to this drill music. They listening to Meek Mill. They listening to Lil Durk, NBA Youngboy, Young Thug, and Gunna, thinking that it's okay to go out and commit crimes and join gangs and shit. And because why? Because we're not seeing these men be held accountable. These men are turning into superstars and they're flexing and they're rapping about their crimes and they're getting Grammys and they're at the Met Gala. So if we don't see the accountability, aka the shame, where's the correction? And I think that's why down in Atlanta right now they're trying to make such an example out of Gunna and out of Young Thug, because they see that there's a vicious cycle that has unleashed onto this physical realm, especially within our black and brown communities. And the only way for us to begin to correct and heal and grow and stand up together is to hold people accountable. What I will offer is that we do that with love and compassion and not with shame. And that is my opinion on this. Thank you so much for watching. Please have a good day. If you would like to book a spiritual advisor session with me, information for that is pinned in the comments. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, comment below, and let me know what you think. And if you would like to subscribe, feel free to do it. It's free $99. And make sure you hit and enable that notification bell so you can know when I post more videos such as this.